3, 2, 1, yeah, that's a knockout. They call me kamikaze, put you in heaven's lobby. On gas, no brakes, you can never stop me. Nah, no, you can never stop me. Yeah, cause I'm the power slap king.
Slapson, baby!
Hey, what's good, fam? A new year. The first episode of the new year. I know you can feel it. Can't you? In your bones, down in your plums, with a bluish hue. It's a new season, baby. A new year. So I thought a cool thing to do would be just kind of talk through the year, you know, whatever comes to mind as we go through all this, but just have an episode where we talk through the awards that were just given through Powerslap, and that will definitely spark some thoughts, ideas of what's to come, maybe what was. But I just wanted to go through all those awards that were handed out, give my thoughts on it, you know, disagree, agree, indifferent, and maybe have some, oh, fam, what are we doing? Why is the treasure way back there? Hold on. Can we do this without looking at it? I feel it. Yeah. Never abandon a beverage. It's bad karma, and frankly, what a waste. It's good squishy. It's good squishy. Okay. Well, hey, let's get into it. I pulled up the tab here. Let's see. We want to share our screen, though, don't we, fam? Screen. Let's see. That's okay. And then we want to go to Powerslap. There we go. We want to share this bad boy. Okay. Allow this every visit. All right, now. Okay, so you can see what I'm looking at. Let's double check real quick for those watching at home. All right, now let's go back to the tab and we'll talk through all these bad boys. All right, let's start with, okay, fam, we have got Striker of the Year, and that went to Robert Trujillo. Let's click through, see what they got to say about our boy Robert. Robert's a good guy, man. He came on the show, and afterwards, you know, you get to talk to him a little bit. The walls come down a little bit. Once the record button is done, you can kind of have a quote-unquote real talk sometimes. Anyway, after our interview was over, Robert couldn't have been nicer, man. What a gentleman. Super, sense of humor is good as well. And I can honestly tell you he puts in the work. The desire's there, obviously. You can't get to where you have champ status and not have those things. But it is interesting sometimes how you can have those things, but maybe it's still a little off. I don't know if that makes sense as far as like the athlete goes or the attitude goes towards it once they achieve that. And I don't get that vibe from Robert at all, man. He's just there. He wants to be the best that he can. He wants to prove that all this is real, and he's going to continue proving it every day. And I love that about a champ. I love an active champ. I love a champ who is not shy to speak his mind. He doesn't have to talk shit, but he speaks his mind because he believes it. And I think Robert is that guy, you know. He's not like on X or Facebook or Instagram talking all this shit or whatever. But I can tell you, if he ever did, I would say it was genuine and coming from a place of truth. And couldn't get enough of it, man. I love it. I think for 26, Robert has got to defend that belt at least a couple of times. I mean, it's the fight game, right? So who knows when he gets back up there what's going to happen. But I do see him. He's got to get a chance to defend that belt more than once this year. He's one of these guys that did all the work, was very patient, and when he got that opportunity, he did not delay. He did not hold back. He delivered. He even delivered with a little dance. You feel me? All right, so Striker of the Year 2025 is Robert Trujillo. Robert did the work all year, coaching at PS15, PS16, and PS17, plus all 4 combines in 2025. Respect earned aside and outside the circle, Striker of the Year. And I would agree. Everybody I've talked to within this game, they all respect Robert. They know what he's about. And like I just got done saying, he was kind of always there in the background. He was very patient till he got that opportunity, and he capitalized. So congratulations, Robert. Very well deserved. Striker of the year, that's kind of a broad category, right? So maybe it's harder to pick somebody because there's a lot of good strikers in a very specific strike game. So huge honor to get that. Congratulations, Robert, man. Love you, brother. Let's go back and see what else we got. All right. Oh, I remember that one. Hey, Cole. Let's see where we at. Blackburn. Yeah. Mr. Cole, Mr. Young. Should we pull this up one last time? Let's talk, buddy. Let's talk. Gotta talk to the man who took down Babyface, for crying out loud. Come on now. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. So we just went from Striker of the Year. Let's go to Match of the Year. Match of the Year. So a couple of the matches that I saw live that I really enjoyed was the trilogy. So you got Bordeaux and Quinones. That one was amazing. Frankly, all three of their matches were incredible, emotional, like it meant something. You know what I mean? And seeing those matches live, talk about contenders. Also, some non-championship bouts. Nate and Aaron comes to mind. That first sudden death. I've never seen Aaron wobbled, like, period. That happened. I've never seen Nate kind of like dig deep and make this comeback, if you will, in the moment. And that happened. That match was crazy. So that one comes to mind. What are some other ones that come to mind? There were so many. What's cool about the slap game, particularly power slap, is literally every night, like, I don't know, I can honestly say nobody's had a boring match because the sport itself kind of speaks to, oh, this isn't going to be boring. It may not be a knockout. You may have some people fumble the bag a bit and there's a foul or, something along those lines. But the match of the year is such a cool category because, quite frankly, every card, you could argue there might be a match of the year in there. And I feel like that's different from like MMA or boxing. Boxing, they kind of make their own matches of the year a couple times a year, right? But like where there's a product being cranked out a lot, such as UFC, that you get these cards and these matches sometimes where they don't go how people think, or they don't go how people feel they're going to go, especially if there's a lot of hype and, a lot of build-up, anticipation, but then the match happens and for whatever reason it's kind of so-so. I remember when Ngannou fought Lewis. It was just kind of like, so-so, and there's a few matches like that. But in slap, every match could be a match of the year because it's so quick, it's so specific, it's so to the point. And so to have your match be given this, I think is a big deal, man, because it shows that you stand out from all the other matches that stand out, if that makes sense. So let's scroll down. It looks like we've got Match of the Year 2025. Oh, man, Ron Bata versus Alan Klingbell, the Kryptonian. So I was there for this one. It was a great matchup. A lot of energy. A lot of... So Alan earned this spot because he upset Luke Simons. And he didn't just upset him. He took him out. So I can see why he got this title shot. In the fight game, momentum is very real. It's like the halo effect in life. If a gorgeous woman goes in for a job interview with the same skill set as someone that maybe isn't as attractive, like it or not, it's not fair. They're probably going to lean towards the more attractive woman because of this halo effect. Look it up. It's a real thing. And fighting has a definite halo effect for other reasons, meaning emotion is so real in the fight game that in some ways, and some might argue in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter what your record is or how you performed in your last match. What matters is the moment. And Alan took that moment and springboarded it, as one should, into a title match. And so there was some controversy there as to who got that match. But it doesn't matter. It went down. It was awesome. They went back and forth. There were some flinching issues, from Alan, and you could see the frustration in Ron's face a little bit. When that match was over, I had talked with some of my buddies, and Ron is so calm. He's so quiet. He's this humble guy that you don't see that dog surface. It's definitely in him, but you don't see it surface, right? I remember watching one of his way old matches in SFC, and oh shit, it's gonna make fun of me in the comments because I can't remember who the match was against, fam. Go ahead and do that. I'm cool with that. But you could see his face turn in this match. Like, he got mad visibly. And I feel like you could see that in this match as well. And I think that's part of why this gets match of the year from the brass, because it was kind of a controversial thing to give someone the title shot. And then to see the person who is, I mean, you could argue he's the GOAT already, right? To kind of flip the script a little bit, if you will, and show that dog that's in him and expose that a little bit on his face, coming out. I think that's what kind of played into this decision. Great match. Would love to see it again. Honestly, I would. There's other matches that come to mind for Ron, but because of it being labeled what it was from Dana and to have that solidified within these awards, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this rematch as well. But congratulations, Ron, Alan. What's up, brothers? I love you guys. Can't wait for 26. See that? Cole, the internet wants us to talk. It keeps going to this slide. Yeah, and stuff. All right, fam. We got Striker of the Year done. Match of the Year done. Moving on, we have got Knockout of the Year. All right. It's Power Slap. This is another one of those categories, in my opinion, that's like Match of the Year. There's so many you could look at. And what goes into this decision, right? Is it just blatant highlight reel so someone can get clubbed or fouled because it's about the knockout, not necessarily how the knockout was done? Was that a factor? Was it the show afterwards when someone got knocked out? Was it the actual damage done to the person getting knocked out? I'm really curious and really would love to speak with someone behind the scenes about like how these things, how the decisions are made as far as like the factors. Now, ultimately, it's up to the person or persons, at Power Slap to come up with this. But I would still like to know how they get to that decision. It'd be kind of cool to see and hear. All right, so Knockout of the Year, we're going to Austin Turpin, baby. Well, here we go. Look at this guy. Stevie, what's up, brother? You made the poster, man. Austin, look at this dog, man. Let's read what it says. Knockout of the Year, Austin Turpin. Turpin didn't just land it, he shut it off. A brutal knockout over Kathy that ended with him asleep on the table. No follow-up needed. Everyone saw it. Knockout of the Year. Wow. So I was there for this one as well. And man, I love Vern, man. I love his wife. They're great people. And I'm going to be totally honest, fam. I had seen Turp live one other time. But it was at Power Slap 8, and I wasn't really entrenched in the sport yet. It was literally my first time seeing any of these guys. And to be able to say I know these guys now and I can talk with them, in an interview or even just shoot them a text or a DM and have that camaraderie is crazy to me. It's seriously so cool to me. So I say all that to say that I'll be super honest, because of being entrenched in that sport now and developing these relationships. I didn't know Austin as well at the time as I knew Vern, but I was a fence sitter is the point. Part of me was like, Austin's got all this hype train. The brass loves him. They're promoting him. He's obviously got a mouth on the mic, right? Super honest. I mean, say what you will about Austin, through missing weight and things like that. When the match was over and they gave him a hard time about that, when this knockout happened, they straight up asked him. And, when he's been asked about this in the past as well, I think the line is, shit's just too seasoned. And say what you will, at least bro's honest. I mean, he wasn't like, I did my best and this and that. I think he was being super honest, and I think that's overlooked, of just simply saying shit's too seasoned. You know what I mean? And I think that was, I don't know. I haven't talked to Austin. We've scheduled a few interviews, but life happens. You know what I mean? But we'll get him on. So I don't know Austin, but it felt like he was just telling the truth. Felt like he was just being honest. And because of that, we'll see him in a different weight class going into 26. Super excited about that. I mean, the heavyweight matchups that we could put with Austin, it's going to be fun, right? But anyway, the flip side of that is to see Vern like that on the podium. Shit, man, it reminded me when Alan did knock out Luke. It makes you feel a certain way because you know these people well enough to like have a feeling about that, right? And so to see Vern go down like that, it wasn't bad. Obviously, it wasn't good, but like the internal emotion I always have when that happens is just like, oh man, I hope he's okay, and that's real. Great sense of humor, awesome guy. He just like tinkers with everything. I mean, the nickname The Mechanic is very real. I love it when people ask him, where'd you get the nickname from? And he just says, I'm a mechanic. Like it's just so genuine, right? So that was kind of the flip side emotion of it all. But at the end of the day, it was a great knockout. And so I can see why this got picked. Absolutely. And side note, it'll be interesting to see not only what happens with Turp in this new division, but with Vern as well. Like, look, I can say this because I think I'm older than Vern. We're in our 40s. How many more can he take? Is the desire still there? That could be a real thing. So a cool storyline can come out of this as well in 26 to see what happens with both these fighters. But nonetheless, congratulations, Austin. Fucking let's see it go again. And, DM me, man. Let's talk. Let's talk, brother. All right, let's move on. We have got... Rookie of the Year. Okay, so let's go. Rookie of the Year is next. Rookie of the Year in 2025 was Ellie Dempster. It says, Ellie Dempster. Oh, my God. Ellie, is that why you won't come on? Did I say dumpster one time and it wasn't Dempster? Love you, girl. So Ellie Dempster arrived fast. This is true. A DQ win at PS 13. Followed by an unforgettable knockout at PS15 against Haley James. Hollywood, baby. 2 events in and already setting the standard. She left no doubt in her rise, earning Rookie of the Year. Look, it's hard to debate that. Let's be real, fam. Again, this is another category. Well, I'd like to know behind the scenes for all the categories. So who's ever listening to this, if you have a connection to the behind the scenes action, I would love to have them on the podcast and just talk to them through just the ideology or the rhythm or the process, whatever you want to call it, in picking these awards. At the end of the day, again, it's up to them. But as a fan, it would be cool to see how they come to that conclusion. Like for Rookie of the Year, I think Rookie of the Year might be a little bit easier because in athletics, fighting, for example, Rookie of the Year in the NFL or NBA, right? They're probably just simply outperforming the other rookies and doing it professionally and in a way that attracts, the attention that it deserves. And the way they get that attention is with their performance, typically. For example, if some guy is high flying in the NBA and he's a rookie and he's got crazy dunks and he gets all these highlights, he's not going to be considered for Rookie of the Year as strongly as the other rookie who gets maybe a highlight or 2 highlights, but is just really working the league, averaging 20, maybe 20 and 10, so that's kind of the factor that goes into that in other leagues. And with powerslap, I think that's where they're coming from with Ellie. When Ellie did perform, it was just like everyone was watching, everyone is intrigued. And I think what maybe solidified it for her, and they talked about it in these 2 sentences, below this, is, Haley, she's got a good wrestling background and she's tough, son. Like, she is who she is. There's nothing fake there. And I think she has some momentum. She's got that wrestling background. She's not shy in front of the camera, not shy in the mic, and she's tough as nails. So when she got up there against Ellie, and Ellie looked a little bit smaller than she is in stature, and she kind of bent down a little bit to get her angle, right? And when that came through and Haley dropped, I think that was her set, honestly, telling the whole power slap world, I'm here. And it couldn't have been more like surprising a little bit. I think Haley had a lot of momentum behind her, but also not surprising, given how serious she took it from the moment it was her turn taking that stance. She put in work. she put in practice, and she just delivered perfectly. And for that, how can you not, agree with Rookie of the Year, Ellie Dempster? What's up, girl? Can't wait for 26. There's so many storylines in the women's divisions. I know what Frank said as far as like having experience, but I also hear what Destiny was saying, which was, hey man, these girls got some fights under their belt. Like, no pun intended, because of that, they need a belt. So I'm very excited for the women's divisions. Ellie, excited to see how you progress in 26. And man, it gets you thinking, doesn't it? Just what can happen with all those women divisions. Exciting, and I said it first. It's hard to look away when two ladies are doing what this slap game does. It's hard to look away. And if they bring talent on top of that, good Lord. Frankly, fam, the Conor McGregor of power slap, quite possibly, and frankly, I'm leaning towards this way, is going to come from the female division. You heard it here. And I'm not going to back down from that until I'm proven wrong. The quote-unquote mega star, break the barriers, have a brand, have products, on and on. Outside this, I think it's in the women's favor. I really do. All right, let's move on. See, it keeps going back down to you, Cole. All right, let's see here. Rookie of the Year, upset of the year. Okay, let's talk. Upset of the year. We have got the Hawaiian Hitman, Mr. Dane. I can't say your last name perfectly every time, so I'm not even going to attempt it. I love you, brother. Nothing but love, but I'll just call you Hitman. It says, a plus 200 underdog with everything to prove, Hitman shocked Dumpling at PS13. The same fighter who had defeated his brother the match before. Full circle. Big statement. One of the biggest surprises of the year and a clear pick for upset of the year. All right, let's talk about this. I agree. Upset of the year. No one saw it coming. No one thought that this would be the case. And when he got his arm raised, I know there was a lot of backtalk, a lot of controversy. And it's compounded because going into this match, and I even asked him straight up, myself as well, do you think you're getting this match because of what your brother brought to the table, being a pioneer of specifically the powerslap brand, right? Like I know when we were first getting into it, sure, Paige Van Zandt was the name that got us to buy tickets and go down and start this whole journey. But once you started Googling powerslap on literally Google or on Instagram, TikTok, things like that, Dane's brother Lane was the guy that popped up. So I took that as, okay, this guy's the face of the sport right now. And as you got involved, you kind of saw that, yes, he definitely, if he wasn't the face, he was definitely one of the faces of the sport. So to have his brother get the title shot, I straight up asked him, people are saying it's because of your brother. And he gave an honest response. He just basically said, I hear the chatter. I definitely hear it, but I don't think that's the case. And in my other matches, I wasn't working. He admitted he could have put in more work. And so with the match with the Dumpling, going into it, he said he wasn't taking anything for granted. He was working super hard. He's dialed in the things he needed to dial in. And from my opinion is this. From Dane's perspective, say what you will, but leading up to this match, he took it as serious as ever, and he was planning on winning. Now, he's not very, on the mic, he's still kind of quiet, you know what I mean? But he was taking it differently. That I feel was honest, and that I feel was real. So take that into this match. And then Dumpling coming in, I don't know. I didn't speak to Dumpling. I reached out to his team, and they were nice and everything, but Dumpling, he just didn't want to come on. We're trying to work out some things, and it didn't happen. So I haven't spoken to Dumpling yet. I know I will one day, but all I can tell you is I spoke with Dane, and his focus and work ethic and everything else was a complete 180 going into this match. And then Dumpling, all I can think of or assume is I don't imagine Dumpling taking anybody lightly, but I can think maybe in the back of his mind or, in his gut, there might have been a little bit of, okay, I'm going to plow through this dude so I can get my revenge back on this other guy, or let me go through this dude real quick so I can go on to bigger, better challenges. The only thing I can think of is maybe that was some mentality. But having watched the match a few times, I think controversy is real, and that's just being honest. Look, at the end of the day, he got the belt, upset of the year. You can't take anything away from him, man. Like, he say what you want, he fucking did it. End of story. But all I can say is, I agree with the controversy, but that's what makes us fun, right? That's what makes us fun. We could run that thing back again, and I would watch. That's what makes this fun. You don't like the decision? You think he was robbed big time, biggest robbery ever? I can think of some other ones too that involve McKinney. But that's what makes it fun. So upset of the year, I agree. Controversy of the year, possibly. There's a lot of other controversies we could get into too, with testing. Anyway, weight, who gets to fight who? Like, why is someone who isn't ranked fighting someone who's ranked 9? The person 9 should be fighting the person who's at least ranked 8. So there's a lot of controversies for sure, and that's what makes sport fun. But I'll just say this to move on. Upset of the year, yes. Possibly controversy of the year. What do you guys think? All right, let's move along. Congratulations. At the end of the day, Dane, you fucking did your shit, Hitman. Can't wait to talk to you again. And Dumpling, if your team's listening, I still love to talk to you, my guy. And speaking of McKinney Manu, chin of the year. Look at that, man. Let's read what it says. McKinney Manu stayed undefeated in 2025, stacking dominant wins over Stephen Rousey, PS12, Dwayne Crespo, that one was huge. I saw that one live, at PS14, and Dumpling at PS16. Every opponent landed shots, none could finish the job, relentless pressure, unbreakable resolve, and a granite chin earned McKinney the unmistakable claim to chin of the year. I'm just looking at this poster, fam. This is great. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I've had a lot of conversations, and the sport really is 1-2. There's a lot of tedious things in between that 1-2, and until you don't know. But having talked with so many strikers, how they go through it, I can literally tell everyone watching or listening, it isn't just simply the strike and defense. But overall, to make those two things the best is you got to do all these things in between, right? And I believe that McKinney does all that. And the true test of a striker is not the strike, it's the chin. Anyone can strike, but can you take the blow? And man, can McKinney Manu take the blow? I mean, it's crazy, dog. There's a lot of strikers that have great chins, but there's guys that come along, and McKinney's this guy right now, where a lot of times when he gets striked, it's hard to tell if he got striked. I mean, now there are strikes where you can tell, but you see where I'm going with it. He doesn't seem to get disturbed. He doesn't seem to get disturbed. He takes it, kind of shakes it off, and then he comes back and finishes the job. And I love that. But beyond that, whenever I talk to him, I love that he's such like he is genuinely a nice guy. He's just this genuinely nice guy, man. Like, talking to him about his career, he's had a lot of hardships in his athletic career, but he just kind of talks about it, and not necessarily ho-hums, but it's just kind of like, look, that didn't work out, whether it's the NFL or sumo wrestling or professional wrestling. All those things may not have ended up the way he had hoped or thought they would, but his attitude towards all that is awesome. I love him for it, man. And he's got a great sense of humor, super humble guy. When I talked to him last, he just got the head coaching job, at the high school for volleyball and football, which is perfect for him. Those kids, man, I'm sure they just love this guy. I can't wait to see what happens with him in 26. He's got to get a title shot. He has to. I don't know if it's his very next match, but man, it feels like he deserves a title shot. And if he doesn't get that next, we can talk about it if he doesn't at the right time. But I am saying that he deserves a title shot next. All right, let's stop sharing my screen. Let's see here, fam. Stop. And we're back at it. All right. Crazy year last year. It couldn't have been more fun. Last year was like the first full year of doing this. And I'm so excited for this year. You never know what's going to happen. We might do things differently as far as like having more predictions and things like that, now the sport's growing a little bit. I'm going to do my best to be outside my comfort zone of like giving more of my opinion of specific things. I haven't shied away too much, fam. I'm being truthful. But there were very few moments where I was like, because of the personal things. And I'm going to try and step out my comfort zone so I can continue to keep it real with you guys, be honest. And because I think that's important. Another thing is interviews on the pod. Obviously one of the bigger ones last year, the goal was to get, so the goal when we first started the podcast was Paige Van Zandt and Dana White. Get them on. We've had Paige Van Zandt on, and I guess the other like big name would be Dana White. Would love to interview you, Frank. Would love to interview Justin. Would love to interview Mark, man. I don't know who's got the connection with Mark, but would love to interview that guy. As far as like the slap son, power slap side of the podcast goes, I think those are kind of the names I'm looking for as far as like big gets. And then as far as like the strikers themselves, listen to me. We could go along down the road and maybe we disagree so far or have like a, maybe it's uncomfortable potentially down the road, but I'm telling you, it hasn't happened yet. It's been amazing. But if it does, I want you to know, future striker, that you will always still have a platform on here to say your piece. I control it. It's my domain, but I'll never interrupt you if you got something to say. I promise you. And for all the strikers now and in the future, that it's business as usual and the camaraderie's there and you have something to say and you have something on your mind, I promise you, you got a platform here. And it could go awesome. It could go not so awesome. But the cool thing that I have learned with actually pursuing something that has social media on it and a podcast that actually goes out to the world, I've definitely made some mistakes. I've learned a lot of things along the way as far as like just the skill of how to interview, just the skill of like how to interact with people, the skill of, this could be broadcasted to the world. So maybe, we do things a little bit differently as far as like opinions and things like that. It's a different mentality, fam. Look, I'm not unaware that this isn't Joe Rogan. This isn't Helwani. This isn't even fucking, whatever. Excuse me. Whatever, right? But I do know it's a good thing to be aware. And so that's something I've learned. But going forward, I just want to double down on the message to all the strikers or anybody that comes on, whatever they might be in. You got a platform here. I'll let you speak your mind, speak your opinion. Yeah, I think that's it. So it's so funny. I feel like that was like a passionate rant and then I had nothing to end there. So, all right. January 6th, first episode in the books of the year, put out a couple goals, went through all the awards, good times, and always remember 3, 2, 1. That's a knockout. Cheers, fam.